From Billie Eilish to Cardi B to Normani to Harry Styles, it feels to me like celebrities these days are constantly being accused of queerbaiting. But after hearing this elusive term in mainstream media for so long, it begs the question of what is queerbaiting and what does it actually mean? Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Izzy, I write stuff, and today I'm going to be doing a 4-part deep dive video essay into the subject of queerbaiting. Part 1. The origins. Interestingly, the term queerbaiting used to be used in a very different way to the way in which it's used today. A 1956 definition of the term from the OED, Oxford English Dictionary, is, quote, the harassment, abuse or targeted provocation of LGBTQ people, especially in early use gay men, end quote. However, over time, the meaning of queerbaiting has, of course, as we've seen, evolved. In 2012, the definition of the word was, quote, the practice of incorporating apparently or potentially LGBTQ characters or relationships into a film, television show, etc., as a means of attracting or appealing to the LGBTQ audiences, while remaining deliberately coy or ambiguous about the character's sexuality. Okay, so let's just break down that second and more relevant definition, because in my opinion it is very wordy. To put it simply, queerbaiting in a modern context is using queerness in art and media, whether it's explicitly stated or just heavily implied, to appeal to and profit off of LGBTQ+ audiences. And creators of these pieces of media queerbait not because they actually care about queer people or positive queer representation, but because ultimately queer representation has been something that the queer community have been starved for since pretty much the dawn of time. Therefore, these creators know that queer audiences will basically just eat up queer storylines and characters, even if they're badly written, or perpetuate negative stereotypes, or even participate in harmful tropes. And again, because of this lack of positive queer media, the creators can get away with even just queer coding a character, which, if you don't know, basically just means to heavily imply that a character is queer, without ever actually confirming it. They're reeling in a queer audience, tempting them with the promise of representation, with characters that they can identify with, but ultimately just leaving them hanging on the end of a hook, never giving them what they actually need or want, hence the bait in queerbaiting. Some well-noted examples of queerbaiting in mainstream media are Sherlock Holmes and John Watson from the BBC TV adaptation of Sherlock, Dean Winchester and Castiel from the TV show Supernatural, and Beckett and Chloe from the musical film Pitch Perfect, which came out in 2012. Now, the anger, the disappointment, the upset that some audiences feel after characters and storylines that they've invested in, sometimes for years and years, only to feel cheated or deceived by the end, to feel that they are being or have been queerbaited, used for their profitability as a queer audience, is completely valid. I mean, myself, I've never watched Supernatural, but if I had been rooting for Dean and Castiel to be together since season 4, only for Castiel to admit his love in the final season and then die, I would be so pissed off. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I would be so pissed off. So we've established that audiences are valid in their feelings towards queerbaiting in art and film and other forms of mainstream media, because ultimately queerbaiting is a deceitful tactic used to entice and profit off of and essentially just exploit LGBTQ audiences. But what happened when we as a society started to use the term queerbaiting not just in reference to media, but in reference to actual real life people? Part 2. Dangerous evolution. I don't know about you guys, but when I think of queerbaiting in reference to actual real people, my mind immediately goes to former One Direction star, actor, now solo singer, Harry Styles. For years on end, Harry Styles has been subject to the accusations of queerbaiting. This is due firstly to his gender expression, because since his partnership with Gucci in 2018, he has been seen dressing more flamboyantly, more femininely, whatever you want to call it, even posing on the cover of Vogue in a dress in 2020, which caused so much uproar if anybody can remember. Oh my god. I don't know why that was made into such a big deal, but I digress. Some of the queerbaiting accusations may secondly stem from his 2022 role My Policeman, in which he plays one of the 2 lead characters, and it is about a queer love story between 2 men. He plays a queer man in that movie. And thirdly, some of the queerbaiting accusations may stem from the fact that Harry Styles refuses to ever concretely confirm his sexual orientation or identity. In April 2022, he told Home and Gardens that he has, quote, no obligation to publicly reveal who he sleeps with. And you know what? Good on him. Like Harry Styles, there have been some other singers in the mainstream media who have been accused of queerbaiting due to behaviours or actions in their music videos. And a great example of this, I'm sorry, I'm just smiling at the memory because I remember this. But one of the great examples of this happened back in 2021 with the music video for Billie Eilish's song Lost Cause. I love that song. Which features Eilish and other women dressed in pyjama shorts, twerking, dancing, and touching each other in what can be interpreted as a very sensual, bordering on sexual way. On the 10th of June 2021, 8 days after the release of Eilish's music video, she posted some of the photos from the music video to her Instagram with the caption, "I love girls." How did we not know? But anyway, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, if you guys haven't previously heard of this scandal, it very much fueled the queerbaiting accusations, the whole "I love girls" thing. It definitely caused a little bit of a stir. However, only 3 years later, Eilish actually publicly confirmed questions surrounding her sexuality, claiming that, quote, she hadn't realised that fans didn't know she identified as queer, saying it was obvious. In her profile, Eilish stated, "I'm physically attracted to women, but I'm also so intimidated by them for their beauty and their presence," end quote. So, after all that anger directed towards Billie Eilish for supposedly queerbaiting, turns out she is actually queer. Another instance of queerbaiting accusations for singers because of their behaviour in music videos also happened back in 2021 when singers Normani and Cardi B did a music video for their song Wild Side, which features the two artists nude from what the camera can see, embracing each other, touching each other. And this did naturally, as we've seen with Billie, it fuels queerbaiting accusations. And upon hearing these, presumably, Cardi B took to Twitter and stated that, according to an online article by Dazed, "I don't like this new queerbaiting word," explaining that she has previously been open about her bisexuality and sexual experience with women. "I feel like queerbaiting pressures artists to talk about their sexuality or experiences they don't feel comfortable speaking about. If an artist kisses a girl in a video, does that mean she's got to show videos and texts with women?" she continued. Good point. But yeah, as I say, Cardi B does make an excellent point with that, because the term queerbaiting, as we know, originally it referred to the use of queerness in art and film and other sorts of media to basically profit off of the queer community and exploit them. However, nowadays it's being used to examine the behaviour of real people and almost scrutinise them and label any potentially queer behaviour without them flagging it as gay exhibited from them as essentially queerbaiting. And we need to understand that there is a difference between saying that Becca and Chloe from Pitch Perfect should have been together and accusing a real online pop star of queerbaiting because of how she behaved in a music video. And the difference there is that Becca and Chloe are people from a movie. They aren't real. This pop star, for example Billie Eilish, is a real person with thoughts and feelings and emotions, and it is not up to us as a society to tell her if she's queer or not queer, because she is not a character for us to project onto. And that is the issue with queerbaiting accusations these days, when they are directed at real people rather than creators of media. This evolution of the term queerbaiting, which now targets and scrutinises actual real people, is dangerous for just many reasons. For one, it discourages artistic self-expression and self-exploration, as we've seen with the treatment of Harry Styles for his gender expression. It basically ignores the lived queer experiences of people in favour of assuming that they're acting queer for profit, as we've seen with Cardi B, who, despite being openly and proudly bisexual, has been accused of queerbaiting. Doesn't make much sense. And thirdly, this evolved definition of queerbaiting assumes that the public have a right to know the innermost personal feelings of another human being just because they're in the public eye, as we've seen with the treatment of Billie Eilish, who was consistently accused of queerbaiting, even though now we know she was actually queer. And it's now with this new and evolved definition of queerbaiting that refers to real people rather than just art and media and what have you, that I do have to raise the question: what happens when people take the term queerbaiting with all of its dangers and take things way too far? Part 3. Kit Connor, A Cautionary Tale. Let's get into this one, shall we? In April of 2022, the first season of the hit TV show Heartstopper arrived onto Netflix, which follows the love story of two young high school boys, Nick and Charlie, as they navigate young life and basically figure out their love and who they are. While Charlie being gay is common knowledge at the boys' school, having been outed before the events of season 1, Nick is unsure of his sexuality near the beginning and the first few episodes, and eventually, through loving Charlie and figuring out things about himself, he realises that he is actually bisexual. While the show does focus on a few more negative things that need to be addressed, such as homophobia, bullying, eating disorders, the show Heartstopper on the whole is a very, very positive, and I would love to just say wholesome TV show. It's just a fun, lovely, heartwarming watching experience. So while it does tackle a few of the bigger issues, I would say it's overwhelmingly a very positive, young, queer piece of media. Honestly, I would love to just stop there. I would love to leave it at that and just say, you know, Heartstopper was a lovely piece of young queer media and just draw a line under it and that's it. But unfortunately I can't, because due to the some of the so-called fans of this show, there has been a real dampener put on it based on the experiences of the actor of Nick himself, Kit Connor, and the shit that he went through because of the so-called fans of this show. So in September of 2022, which was the same year that Heartstopper first arrived on Netflix, Nick's actor, as we know, Kit Connor, was seen in Paris with another actress, Maya Refiko. And because of people citing these two together, they started to claim that they were together, and there were dating rumours about those two. And from this stemmed accusations of queerbaiting to Kit Connor, and stating that basically his role in Heartstopper had led them to believe that he was gay, and now that he was spotted with Maya Refiko, he's not gay, he's queerbaiting us, he's this, he's that, he lied to us. And this is how some people's delusional minds thought of this situation. They thought because they saw him with a girl that he suddenly isn't queer or that he owes them any kind of explanation, and the rumours and the accusations of queerbaiting just went. After these queerbaiting accusations and all the speculation surrounding Connor's sexuality, he did actually come onto Twitter and said, quote, "This is a silly, silly app, bored of it now, deleting Twitter." However, he did actually return the following month after, tweeting, "Back for a minute, I'm bi. Congrats on forcing an 18-year-old to out himself. I think some of you missed the point of the show. Bye." This just makes me so sad, it really does. Honestly, like, it is heartbreaking to me that this poor guy had to out himself. Like, it's just so, it's so sad, but I don't think I can do a video on queerbaiting without acknowledging this situation and what happened with Kit Connor. But anyway, I digress. The way that Kit Connor was treated by his so-called fans is, to me and to anybody with a full functioning brain and heart, inexcusable. And it's inexcusable anyway to examine and speculate and criticise a then 18-year-old boy to the point that he had to out himself to stop the rumours. But the cherry on top of this is that Heartstopper has, as I say, been a positive piece of queer media, and it's held a lot like a safe space almost for young queer audiences who are maybe going through similar things to the characters in Heartstopper. It's provided like a safe space for those young people. So for a key member of this really positive, lovely show's cast to have had to publicly out himself before he was ready is just, it's disgusting and incredibly sad. If we hadn't learned the dangers of speculating on real people's sexualities from the Billie Eilish situation, Harry Styles, Cardi B and so on, then Kit Connor's experience should surely be enough to make us wake up and smell the bacon, because it's awful what happened to him. But it showcases what happened to Kit Connor, the detrimental effect that queerbaiting accusations have on real people. And I do truly believe that with queerbaiting actually originating as a way of calling out creators for exploiting queerness for profitability, I believe that this word did come about with good intent, with good intentions to defend and protect the queer community. However, now that this word has gone through such a shift in its meaning, referring to actual human beings rather than just pieces of media, I believe that now it is actually doing the queer community more harm than good by targeting its youngest, most vulnerable members of the community and actually forcing them into coming out. And you might think that with this whole Kit Connor situation happening all the way back in 2022 that we as a society may have learned our lesson, but you know what, in the words of ABBA, the history book on the shelf is always repeating itself. Part 4. Have we learned nothing? Back in 2013, a young kid with a talent with guitar and a beautiful voice called Shawn Mendes, who a few of you may know, got attention for his song covers on the platform Vine, R.I.P. Vine. And he has since then, of course, blown up astronomically. He's released 13 solo albums, he's been an opening act for Taylor Swift, he's collaborated publicly with artists such as Chance the Rapper, Khaled, Camila Cabello, who he publicly dated, and even more than that. However, sadly, a lot of the attention surrounding Shawn Mendes hasn't actually been about concern for his talents or his hard work or his dedication to his craft, but instead about his sexuality. Have we learned nothing? JoJo! Have you learned nothing? Since as early as 2020, there have been rumours and speculation surrounding Mendes' sexuality, with people online insisting that he's gay. And in October of 2024, on stage at one of his concerts in Colorado, Mendes actually addressed these rumours, saying, quote, "Since I was really young, there's been this thing about my sexuality, and people have been talking about it for so long. The real truth about my life and my sexuality is that, man, I'm just figuring it out like everybody else. I don't really know sometimes, and I know other times. It feels really scary because we live in a society that has a lot to say about that." And before any of the comments jump me, I know that Shawn Mendes hasn't been accused of queerbaiting here, and that technically he addressed the rumours on stage of his own accord, but it just really hurts my heart and gets to me that after all the celebrity scandals about queerbaiting, that we are, after all this time, still thinking for some ridiculous reason that it is okay or normal to speculate on the innermost personal feelings and desires of real actual human beings. Like, I understand, yeah, Shawn Mendes is in the public eye, but that doesn't mean that he's public property. That doesn't mean that we own him or who he is as a human being, and just stuff like that really hurts my heart to hear and to think about, to the point that he has had to go on stage and address these rumours, which have frankly nothing to do with us. You know what, whether or not Shawn Mendes addressed these rumours of his own accord, the fact still stands that people have been saying that he is gay for years, and the likelihood is that he addressed these rumours on stage in order to claim back control of his own narrative and of his own life, because, well, who are we to decide that? Whether he's gay, whether he's straight, any other identity, you know, whether he figures it out tomorrow or he never actually labels himself, it is none of our damn business. So yeah, maybe it has been a few years since we've had a Billie Eilish or Kit Connor-esque queerbaiting scandal, but that doesn't mean that it's not a relevant issue anymore, as some people may believe, because the whole Shawn Mendes situation, to me at least, shows that it very much is. Like, with the treatment of him in these recent months, I'm just here to tell you that the speculation, the sheer audacity of us as a society to still, after all of these scandals and all of the evidence that we've seen to prove that it is bad, I cannot believe that we are still projecting onto making assumptions about another person and their sexuality. It's to me, it's just absolutely insane that this is something we're still doing. And you know, I'm an optimistic person at heart, and I like to think we can work on it. We still do have a long way to go before this issue of assuming shit about people in the public eye is fully resolved. And in essence, it just starts with treating these people in the public eye not just as celebrities and dancing monkeys there to serve and to entertain us, but as actual human beings who deserve time and patience and grace just as much as anybody else. Okay, so now the main beef of the video essay is over, I just want to do a little quick conclusion of just basically my thoughts on this topic. I don't think my thoughts have been subtle throughout this video. I think it's very clear my opinions and what kind of side of this debate I'm on. But just to conclude the video essay, after looking at various different people, various different cases who have over time been accused of queerbaiting, I just want to say that the narrative that these celebrities aren't allowed to explore who they are without addressing every single thing they do and saying, oh, by the way, I'm exploring, by the way, I'm this, by the way, I'm that. It's ludicrous, it's a load of rubbish, because everybody has the right to self-exploration. That doesn't just mean us, that means those in the public eye. You know, do I think that queerbaiting originated with good intent, the term? Yes, I think it did. Do I think that calling out creators of media and entertainment for queerbaiting as a method of profiting off of queer audiences is valid? Yes, definitely. In fact, I think that we should like pull creators up on that who are using queerness as a profitability kind of thing. But do I also think that real people should have the right to self-exploration and self-expression without being treated as some sort of criminal for doing so without publicising it? Absolutely yes. I think the main takeaway from all of this discourse surrounding queerbaiting over the years is that it's okay, and it's in fact better, and I think necessary, for individuals to have privacy when it comes to, you know, the intimate details of life. You know, who they love, who they share a bed with, who they choose to be with. And a lot of celebrities who stepped into the limelight, it was likely to work on their passions and their talents and hone their craft. And I can just imagine like these young people who were thrilled to walk into like the celebrity sphere to get credited for their hard work and all of the shit they've actually done over the years. So for the media and us as a society to make all of that, all of their hard work and dedication about who they're sleeping with, who they're having sex with, it just feels very, wrong and very diminishing and belittling and condescending, because that's not what they stepped into the sphere to do. And I can just imagine it's so disappointing, because I know that celebrities, by the nature of their work, they do share a lot with us. They do share a lot about their life, but no matter how invested fans are, no matter how many fans have like these weird parasocial relationships with celebrities, we have to acknowledge that although, you know, I'm sure you love these celebrities, we don't actually know them. We don't know them as people, and that famous or not, they are human beings entitled to their own privacies. And yeah, I know that little conclusion there was a little bit wordy, but I think that the best thing we as a society can do is just be understanding and accepting of that. Okay, so that is my first video essay on this channel done. I can't believe it, honestly. This video essay has been, let me just check my notes, a 14-page script, over 2,000 words. I worked honestly so hard on this, so you know, I really appreciate anybody who's watched all the way to the end. I really appreciate you being here and watching all the way through me yammering about this. But to my credit, I think I brought up some really interesting points, and to anybody who has any responses, comments, questions to this video, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments down below. I would honestly love to read them and see your guys' thoughts on this. And while I'm on this subject, I would really appreciate the like and subscribe if anybody, you know, was invested in this or likes this kind of content. I would love to have you as part of my little YouTube community. But yeah, that was just... as I mentioned in my intro video to the channel, I've wanted to do these kind of video essays for years and years. I've wanted to do it for so long. So to have actually just filmed my first video essay, it feels so surreal, but in the best way possible. But yeah, that was February's video essay. If you guys have any subjects that you're interested in hearing a deep dive video essay on, please, again, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments down below. I would love to read them and see, you know, if I could possibly make a video essay out of that. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. But I will hopefully, to any of you guys who want to stick around, I will see you for the next video essay in March, and keep an eye out on this channel because there is going to be some more uploads this month, so stay tuned and look out for some of those. As always, all of my sources and research that I have done for this video will be listed down below, so if you are interested in looking at those, if you want to look at some of the sources yourself and give them a read over, please go for it. But yeah, I'm Izzy, I wrote stuff, and peace and love guys, thank you so much for being here.